W's and L's, the weekly recap show where we give a dub to the things that we like and an L to the things that we don't.
So me?
Yep.
I'm prepared to go. So.
Oh, look at that.
As always. All right. So I'm going to get to the dubs here first because I kind of have a shitty story to talk about in toss-ups. So we'll talk about the positive first. So I'm giving a dub out to Slime first, number one.
Facts.
For a lot of people said beating the case. I wouldn't call 40 years of confinement, probation, and potentially jail winning, but what he was facing, he absolutely overcame this case. Overcame this case.
And there's never going to be any slime, slat, none of that in his music ever again.
I mean,
he makes music without it.
He
sometimes.
has to do, what is it? He has to do 4 non-violent or anti-crime concerts a year.
Can't go back to Atlanta, basically.
Well, no, here's the thing. Here's what's so fucked up about that, right? He's going to be in place probation, meaning you're going to be at home on a monitor, but you can never go to the Atlanta metro area.
Yeah.
He's a rapper who's going to be forced to perform for free, but he's not allowed to travel to the area where he's more than likely going to have to perform for free. So the only time he's going to be in the Atlanta metro area for the next 20 years is to do free anti-gang.
What's essentially community service
concerts? Yeah, to do community service basically. So he gets to. They sentenced him to 40. Then they said they'll basically commute it to the time that he's already served in jail. He gets like 17 years probation at the house, and then if he messes up, he could do another 20 in jail.
And he could the only Codys he can speak to would be his brother and Gunna.
Now, this is what's very interesting to me about the Gunna situation. Is that I've seen people trying to post an AI snippet of some music that was supposedly Slime or whatever talking about the situation, which would have been crazy because the shit literally starts with "fuck up the judge." so like fuck the judge. But it was alluding to how like, oh, well, Gunna ain't a snitch. You got an arm around him. I wonder how he's going to, because he can't do anything. He's not going to do anything about it. Not just Gunna, but all of the co-defendants in that case, most notably your boy Woody, right? YSL Woody. Mm-hmm. I think it's very obvious to anybody who knows how court works and saw how all of this unraveled that there are some people who really didn't think that Thug was going to get out of this situation. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they acted accordingly in the court of law when they looked at that situation. He obviously is still going to be making money off of Gunna. So he needs Gunna in the best position possible to make that money. But at the same time, man, play with your freedom like that. I don't know how this situation is going to resolve itself. Somewhere in the near future, I expect a split. I don't think it will be amicable. I don't think that they will leave on good terms. But at some point, I expect there to be a parting of ways. From Thug's perspective, you can't really let this get out of control to no degree, with him in particular. But at the same time, you was sitting up there looking at life in prison based off of a lot of these people's testimony. So you gonna really have Woody around you like that? You really gonna have Gunna around you like that? I don't think so. And then if you Gunna, okay, yeah, he talking all this good shit in public. He hasn't really come out and disavowed me, but his kids are making diss tracks to me. Lil Baby unfollow me. His sister talking shit about me on the internet. Like, there are a lot of signs that this man don't fuck with me for real, and I'd have to be a fool to take his public words about me to heart.
This is really tough.
You know?
Because Gunna is also on an upswing since being released.
and Thug wants to keep him there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if it requires me to be seen with this nigga or for me to continue breaking bread with this nigga, I don't know if that's gonna be doable. His old girl Fannie Willis down there, the prosecutor in Georgia, she just can't stop losing, boy. This is a bad year for her. So the YSL trial, RICO trial, which seems now to be a bit of an overcharge for what they ended up talking about, the evidence they ended up bringing, the things that they wanted to focus on during the trial.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like an overcharge.
Of course.
But in any case, that was number one. Then the whole thing with the Trump trial, the election interference trial, that whole thing falls apart because, well, the guy I'm having sex with obviously has to run this trial, right? There's no better lawyer in all the state of Georgia than the man that I'm on top of. It is insanity. So you expect to see Fannie Willis, excuse me.
Fannie Willis, yeah.
Expect to see Fannie Willis on MSNBC or CNN pretty soon. I have a hard time seeing her getting elected again after all of this.
Sure. No, facts.
Next dub I got is going out to Skip Bayless. Skip apparently got shit on ESPN in one of his final years there for criticizing NBA owners on air, and I don't even remember the segment. They did a good job of airing this.
Mm.
Of criticizing NBA general managers of drafting white centers like Myers Leonard in the lottery.
That's funny.
Fam, do you know that they called Skip Bayless into the office? Then he got called into HR over this. And they were so upset. They said, well, why did you have to mention his race? I said, no, they didn't.
Wait.
They didn't.
This is Fox News or ESPN?
No, this is ESPN.
Or Fox News.
This is ESPN. This is while he was on First Take.
ESPN is that crazy?
No, fam. Just run through your mind right now all the times that you have heard something about a black athlete on ESPN that sounded racially charged. Not only because of maybe the person that was saying it, where they took the conversation, but because they mentioned the race of the player. Right? Just or they alluded to it, or they talked about some kind of skin characteristic. Remember the guy, the dude that was talking about the handoffs for Lamar Jackson and said that his skin was blending in with the ball, and that's why he was so good at it?
Yep.
Stephen A. Smith, some years ago, R.I.P. to your boy Simba, right? Tags Dwayne Haskins as a running quarterback for no other reason than he's black. Literally, there was no other reason to just signify Dwayne Haskins as a running quarterback. He was slow as dirt. He maybe had 5 runs all season. He had negative rushing yards on the season. He was a pure pocket passer. If you had watched in a 5-minute highlight tape of this man, you would know he wasn't no running quarterback. But Stephen A. Smith, sticking with the kind of standardized thinking that is this old tropish type of characteristics of black athletes. Oh, big, black, must be a runner.
There's countless
must be a runner.
NFL adjacent black stories that they've literally brought race into that they didn't need to.
Fam, the entire Colin Kaepernick saga. But you want to bring Skip Bayless to the floor because he said you probably shouldn't be drafting a Myers Leonard in the top 10.
Fam, the fact that it's Myers Leonard is so ironic.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's so ironic that's the person that they was going to the mat for. That is so ironic.
That's funny.
But dog, I mean, would you draft, if knowing what he ended up being, would you draft Myers Leonard in the top 10?
In a lottery? No.
Would you draft Robin Lopez is half black, so let's leave him out of this.
I was gonna say.
What about give me some unathletic Brian Scalabrine? Would you draft Brian Scalabrine in the top 10?
No.
Would you draft
is that where we are with white centers? No, Chris Tapps. Well, yeah, no, but I would draft him top 10. Yeah, for sure.
But he ain't regular white. He international white. He got a different game.
So
we
got to exclude all.
He specifically said like Myles Leonard, and I knew what he meant.
Okay.
Tall, brooding, but not athletic, can't shoot.
Yeah.
And is cumbersome in pick and roll defense.
The league is over for all of that bullshit.
Brad Miller. Would you draft Brad Miller top 10?
No.
Like, what are we even talking about right here? It's like white quarterbacks. There's like one every 5 years that is serviceable and that you can actually draft. Shout out to Cooper DeJean. Cooper DeJean, and Riley Cooper.
I said quarterbacks. I'm like,
no, cornerbacks, defensive backs.
Yes, facts.
And Eric Weddle. Shout out to guys like that.
And Jason Sehorn.
Right? Every 3 or 4 years,
that was decades ago.
There's one of them that can actually go, that can actually play in a skill position where they don't usually prosper. Now, we can have all type of black tropes when it comes to these athletes, but if you mention a white athlete being inadequate in any way, why would you bring up his race?
That's crazy, ESPN.
From Skip Bayless.
That's insanity.
Yikes. So, want to hear a sad story? Doesn't matter if you want to hear it. I'm going to tell you anyway.
I was going to say you're going to tell me anyway. I told a sad story last week. So,
Josely Barnica, a young woman in Texas. This young woman was pregnant with a baby that was almost certain to be headed towards a miscarry. The state of Texas made her keep that baby inside of her and waited until 40 hours. Waited 40 hours. That's how long she waited to receive her care that she needed to stay alive. She passed away. She got an infection and died 3 days later.
Because it's illegal to do an abortion in Texas.
Because it's illegal to do abortion in Texas. And even if her life is threatened, she has to be on death's door. And that's what happened. They let her get so sick that she ended up dying.
You have a duty to save people's lives.
So I wanted to throw that one out there because, number one, in election season, this is always a topic that gets very, very popular to throw out and use as a weapon, but nobody actually highlights the individuals that actually have to deal with it in the real life scenarios that some of this stuff causes when you're talking about it, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to take me directly into my L's.
Okay.
You remember the young lady in New York who was going after Eric Adams?
Mm-hmm.
Olayemi?
Olorin?
Yeah, there you go. Olayemi Olorin. You know, I understand that it is an election time and that when you come from when you're coming from a certain angle, you're a liberal. Mm-hmm. Election time, you're going to allow a lot. You're going to hold your nose for a lot for your position, for whoever your person is, if you're a voting Democrat. Mm-hmm. Same thing for Republicans, right? They let Trump do just about anything he wants to do. He's holier than thou. Mm-hmm. The thing that continues to confound me is how both of those parties not only actively try to keep third parties out from competing with them, right? Like keep them off a ballot, discredit them, run the old same tired attack ads that they hate to see coming from each other, but they'll just run it to the third party candidate because they don't have as much money or as much reach. And so while I would expect a fighter like Olayemi Olorin, ran up and down Eric Adams' back all the way into his federal charges, to be, a little bit more pressing towards her side. Mm-hmm. Right? Because Eric Adams was a Democrat. Eric Adams was black. Mm-hmm. Right? So none of that really played a role in you doing your due diligence as an activist, as a truth seeker, and going after him. So I'm trying to figure out, while we have the racist, fascist, Cheeto head and Trump over there, mm-hmm. we have the VP who's complicit in genocide over there and blatantly stated that she would never do anything specifically only for black people before. And then you have Jill Stein, who's not a perfect candidate, right? By far.
She's not.
She's the only candidate who's anti-genocide, only candidate that's pro-reparations, and while I don't think she's as far left on a lot of the immigration issues that the Democrats are on, she's not nearly as bad as Biden and Kamala Harris have been these last 4 years. So you would at least think that a activist would give that their fair share, right? Would give that a chance to a progressive. It would at least open that door for a conversation, right? Or if you are looking for more corruptible individuals to do, what you really should do is turn your focus to Kamala Harris. But, cool. We not going to... They fighting Trump. That's the only thing that they see. They fighting Trump. So we'll leave that alone. But to turn your ire to Jill Stein and start attacking her VP in the kind of ways that they did over the weekend.
The black guy.
Yeah, man. It shows real weakness coming from the Democratic Party. I'm not going to lie. The fact that they are going so hard at Jill Stein. Like, I saw some polling that said that Kamala Harris was leading in Iowa.
I saw that.
Okay. If that's true, because Iowa essentially changed the tide for Barack Obama in 2008. If that's the case, why are you doing attack ads on Jill Stein? Could it be that you're losing the Muslim vote in Michigan and Wisconsin and all those Rust Belt states, and you're afraid that you may not have enough delegates to beat out Trump?
Yeah, it's a fear of whoever is voting for a third party is essentially handing a vote to Trump.
I hate the dishonesty. I hate that they sit up there and they wag their fingers while they don't point it back at their own people. I'm going to get to the point here. Butch Ware had a couple of clips that went viral over the weekend, right? Mm-hmm. One, he was talking about abortion. Other one, he was talking about trans rights.
Okay.
Now, both of these questions were kind of asked in a targeted way. Right, in a way that could be misconstrued very easily if you didn't watch the entire interview. I'll start with the abortion ban one. They asked him if he supports a nationwide abortion ban. What he supports, what he said was, I believe that we should have a limit to anything. And just like there already is a national limit on how long you can have an abortion, mm-hmm. right? I believe that there should be some sort of limit. Now, we can talk about whether or not that's a good answer or a bad answer, or what have you. Does me saying that mean that I support a nationwide abortion ban?
No.
Are you an honest actor if you are trying to say that, if that's coming out of your mouth?
No. You're taking things out of context.
Like if you are reading into that, those words just being said right there. You asked me about a nationwide abortion ban. I said there should be limits to everything like there already exist. Mm-hmm. Does that say I support it? It's not the best answer, but did I say that I support a national abortion ban?
No, you said there should
be limits to everything. Good, fair enough. Why is your girl Olayemi trying to paint Butch Ware as if he supports a nationwide abortion ban? The next thing that went viral was him having this age-old conversation that we keep running into, and I, for the life of me, cannot understand where people who take this position want us to say, right? So they ask him a hot button question about a topic that everybody gets upset about. What do you think about trans women in female sports? Fam, what do you when you're asking that question, number one, I don't think you can ask that question in good faith anymore. Mm-hmm. You're looking for one or two responses.
Yeah.
I don't believe that women should compete, trans women should compete in female sports, or they should be able to compete in any sport or any category that they identify in. Those are the two answers that you're looking for. Neither one are correct. There's absolutely no nuance to that conversation. Mm-hmm. And it allows you to box someone into either being pro-trans or transphobe.
Right.
Right? There are sports where your physical demeanor, your bone structure, bone density, which are not things that can change off of HRT. I know there was a big thing in that thread yesterday that people were trying to push. Oh, well, if you've been on HRT for so long, it changes your muscle tissue and you lose weight and you lose muscle. You can't change your bones. You cannot reverse your bones. So if you're Leah Thomas and you've competed collegiately as a man and then turn around and compete as a woman and win a collegiate title, people are naturally going to question whether or not your physical composition as a male college athlete benefited you even after your transition. And that's not a transphobic question. That is not a harmful or bigoted question. That is science. It's biology. Now, also, there are other sports where that advantage is going to be minimal. Mm-hmm. Right? And it's not really going to make that big of a difference. If you were a tennis player and you weren't smacking the ball at 90 miles per hour as a man, and you didn't have the physical composition to do that, and you transitioned to a woman, I don't really know if you, prior being a man or having certain levels of testosterone, is going to give you a competitive advantage if you couldn't do it. Now, it's easy enough for him to say that it should be handled on a case-by-case basis, like it is now. Different leagues should have their different rules, like they have them now. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying he gave the most eloquent answer, but to simply say that he doesn't believe that biological males should compete in women's sports does not full stop make him a transphobe. Yeah, L to him all the same.
Tyler, the Creator, did his thing with Chromakopia.
What an album.
Amazing.
What an album.
Amazing. I even got excited to hear Glorilla and Sexy Red. That shit kind of hit.
Who got the better album out right now, Glorilla or Tyler?
Tyler. Actually,
I can't. If it's Tyler, it's razor thin.
I can't ultimately decide though, because I haven't heard the whole Glorilla album.
Glorilla album is fire.
But I'm not going to sit here and act like, because I think some weeks ago I came in here and said it was when Yeah Glow just came out. I was like, I don't know if Glow got it.
Glow, got it. Let 'Em Cook. She got several hits on this joint.
It is have another one come out.
It's hard, or it's very rare that you see female. And I'm not trying to take nothing away from it, but it is very rare that you see female-driven projects that can stand up. Next to. Fam, if you haven't listened to Glorilla's album yet, do yourself a favor. Pop that bad boy in on your drive to work tomorrow. Same thing with Chromakopia. You know what I'm saying? Excellent listen.
Yeah. Excellent. Tyler's album, for me, is one of the best albums of the year. Up there with Schoolboy Q.
You want to piss off J. Cole fans?
It's up there with J. Cole.
You want to piss off J. Cole fans?
The top 3 argument.
Can we start to slide? Because I feel like Tyler's been working on this top rapper narrative for a while, right? Since Igor.
Well, he obviously in the album says the hottest in the city outside of Kenny.
Right, but obviously that's not really I don't think that's I'm the best rapper shot. That's more of it's more of a hot line than anything, right?
It is.
But in terms of him and where he stands in the pantheon right now, dog, I mean, Igor, Call Me If You Get
pantheon?
Lost.
That's crazy.
Chromakopia, yeah, free marketing. Follow us. Watch us on Thursdays. It's really unrivaled, man. The only person I think that's had a better 3-album stretch over the last 5 years is probably Nas.
So if we're talking about who's putting out the best quality music album wise, and just overall artistry, yes, Tyler the Creator belongs in a top 3.
Oh, no. We're going to make this thing specific. I want to bump J. Cole out of the top 3 for Tyler. What do you say?
Well, if we're arguing it based off of album quality and artistry, just overall, then I probably wouldn't have Cole in there, but I also wouldn't have Drake in there either. But I would have Kendrick up there.
Okay.
So, but yeah, Tyler would also.
So we're looking at a top 3 that includes K-Dot and Tyler, but not Drake and Cole.
Drake hasn't wowed me album-wise.
Honestly, I don't have that hard of a problem saying that about Drake. Cole, it gets a little bit more sketchy, right? Because we still have, we still got KOD, which I very much enjoyed, and it aged.
Well, I like Off Season too.
Off Season was okay. I don't know if it compares to Call Me If You Get Lost or this latest one with Chromakopia.
Okay, no, that's fair. So I would say, yeah, Cole hasn't really wowed me necessarily album-wise. But, again,
Versus?
Drake definitely hasn't.
Yeah, I would say now, if you boil it down to verses, I think Cole easily slides over.
Yeah, I was going to say, if we're talking about what I've been talking about, the way that they're actually rapping, then Cole is in that's a different top 3 at that point.
Okay. I just wanted to piss off J. Cole fans for a minute.
I mean, I guess that is what it is. But, yeah, no. I would say Tyler and Kendrick would be in their own top 3. in that respect, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how you would. How can you really separate it? Tyler's just making amazing music.
I mean,
Kendrick's making amazing music. Tyler's making amazing music.
Only reason why I asked is because a couple of weeks ago I got told that some of the best projects of this year were from J. Cole, and so if that's
J. Cole
the case,
did make one of the best albums this year.
Okay, well if that's the case,
but it's behind Chromakopia. It's behind Schoolboy's album too.
It's like we don't even need to radio in. If this is Cole and this is Tyler, they don't even have to signal into the radio tower. You know what I'm saying? We can clearly see each other. We're clear paths, baby. We can wave at each other as we pass each other.
Cole is probably a top 5 album, but not a top 3 album.
I was only asking a question. I wanted you to answer.
I'm thinking about it. But anyway, Tyler has sales and album quality. Yeah. Also, making that album drop on a Monday, genius. It's just genius.
See, I had a feeling that Tyler was trying to get in the middle of the Uber drops. So now that he dropped first, are we just playing a game of chicken between Drake and K-Dot? Drake has to drop by the end of 2024. I don't think he can get out of this year without an album.
But it also won't be top 5.
And then K-Dot, I really don't believe that he's just allowing, or Universal is just allowing people to use that snippet on national TV if that song is not imminently coming out.
His album is going to drop sometime between now and the Super Bowl.
I think they playing a game of chicken. I think Drake was supposed to drop. K-Dot pushed up on his release date. Drake caught wind of it and keeps pushing it to try to avoid K-Dot. So they playing chicken with each other.
I could totally see that.
I think they playing chicken.
I could absolutely see that.
But Drake has to drop before K-Dot because K-Dot technically is not on a time limit.
Yeah, no.
He could do he can do Not Like Us, Euphoria, Humble, and Money Trees at the fucking Super Bowl, and will live off of those streams for the rest of the year if he wants to.
Yeah, he will live for sure off
Drake,
of those streams.
I know that 360 got you on a strict I-10 by 10.
That's a fact too.
I know damn well Lucian is sitting there like, okay, I'm gonna let you play your game, but I better get this album out and it better be a doozy.
We're only about 4 months away from the Super Bowl. So.
You know what I mean? Somebody has the pressure to drop. Somebody doesn't.
Drake dropped a video this week that nobody cared about.
I missed some shit. I'm sure you'll pick up on it, but I missed some stuff in my head.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I missed some shit.
Cole might have a top 20 album, but top 5 is nuts. No. Top 5 this year for sure.
Who said that?
Will T.
What up, Will T?
I'm giving an L to Lil Wayne. And Lil Wayne fans. Dog, after all of the grandstanding we did for Wayne to do a Super Bowl performance, for him to come out and do this Louisiana Fest concert and come out sounding as awful as I've heard clips of him sounding.
Oh, no, but we told y'all now.
Ugh.
Y'all seen WrestleMania. What was you expecting?
I wasn't expecting anything.
Like, maybe Jay-Z had a hand in all of this, and maybe he did block Wayne. But when I tell you, if he did, there was not much of a fight. There was not much of a fight.
Facts.
At all.
That was pretty bad. I mean, it's not like the vocals in Lollipop are good to begin with, but for them to come off the way you sounded on that stage, crazy. And I would think he wouldn't want to go out on stage in the Super Bowl and sound like that. I would hope not.
He don't think he sound like that. You got to know that he doesn't believe that he sounds bad.
It sounds terrible. It sounds really bad. Again, the vocals already aren't that good, but they're maybe compounded with auto-tune and things of that nature to sound a little bit better. He didn't sound to have a auto-tune mic on stage, so it sounded really bad.
So who came with him?
Didn't they do a Hot Boys reunion?
Okay.
I think I'm hearing.
That's dope.
Which is cool, and props to that, but that is also probably not happening at the Super Bowl, so what are we doing here?
What would have happened? Yeah, it would have been Wayne and Drake and probably Birdman.
And Nicki.
And Rap-A-Lot. Oh! Rap-A-Lot got rated, y'all. Rap-A-Lot got rated this week, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Hey, listen, man. if you are a record exec or some sort of corporate figure, a CEO, CFO, and you are getting ran through the mug for some sort of corruption charges or trafficking charges or anything like that, you know people are naturally going to try and connect you to the diddler.
Yes.
You know people are naturally going to try to connect you to the diddler. And honestly, I don't think people have to stretch very far to make that connection between Rap-A-Lot and Diddy. They come from the same era of music. They both cut their teeth in the same era of music. Again, allegedly or whatever needs to be said here, but I do find it ironic that Diddy goes down and now all of a sudden the CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch is being accused of rape and sex trafficking. So.
Yeah, facts.